What's up, Inbound? How about OK Go? Oh my gosh, talk about inbound marketing. Those videos those guys do are fantastic. The way people buy has fundamentally changed in the last decade or so. The thing that's changed is people do independent research. They go to Google, they ask their friends and colleagues and family members on social networks, and they come armed with tons of information when they're ready to make a purchase. That is the idea of instant and real-time communications, and that is what people need to think about when they're generating content to reach people on the web. I typed in Antarctica expedition and all of these different expedition outfitters popped up. I could have gone with National Geographic Expeditions, but take a look at this. They're selling to me before they're educating me. This huge fat button saying, request a reservation. I don't want a reservation. I'm trying to learn something. I'm trying to convince my wife to go with me to Antarctica. And then I found the one with the best content, Quark Expeditions. And they were educating me. They were providing valuable information to me. As I was getting excited about it, I started to tweet about going to Antarctica. And Quark Expeditions started to tweet back to me. I even communicated with the CEO of Quark Expeditions, Hans, through Twitter. And they're helping me to make this decision. One thing I tweeted was, what the heck do we wear? And they sent me a video. And it's packing for the polar regions, which I watched. All of this is happening in real time. I booked a ticket, 2 tickets. My wife decided to go. And the company that got my business was not the cheapest. It was not the most famous. It was the one that engaged with me in real time. It's all about instant engagement. This is about educating and informing your buyers instead of interrupting and selling to them. It's about getting found when they're looking for what you have to offer. It's about having people share what you're doing when somebody asks. And I think what social networking teaches us is that we should be sharing more than selling. So I came up with this rule I call the sharing more than selling rule. It works like this. What most organizations do is they spend their entire time, that's a pie chart, an entire pie chart, selling. I think what's better is to focus on sharing and engaging. So I suggest 85% of the time, you're sharing and engaging. You're interacting back and forth with them, you're answering questions. 10% of the time, the blue pie there, piece of pie, that's going to be creating original content. And then only 5% or less is something of promotional nature. I call that the sharing more than selling rule. Everybody has one of these in their pockets that allow you to instantly communicate with people. What businesses are doing wrong is they're only focused on the old way of communicating, which is doing it when you're good and ready. So I had to move my office. I live in Boston, I have a little office in Boston. I took a picture and sent a picture of my office to 3 different moving companies that I found on a Google search. I sent them all 3 by email at the same time. And within about 2 hours, one company got back to me with a detailed price quote by email. And then about 6 hours later, by telephone, someone called me and said, hey, David, I got your email. I'd love to talk with you about your move. Please call me back on this number. Then 24 hours later, I got another email with a detailed price quote, and it was cheaper than the first one. So all of you shout out, which company did I go with? You all know. Everybody knows it was the first one, right? I went with the first company. That was the company I figured would do the work on time, that would do the work in the way I wanted. I went with Bigfoot Moving and Storage. According to Harvard Business Review, if you respond to a lead within an hour, you generate 7 times the conversions. But so many companies are working in a slow wait-and-see mode. I want you to think about speed, which is the decisive competitive advantage. Social media are just the tools. It's the instant real-time part that is so cool and so interesting. My Nordstrom guy asked me if I'm on Twitter. What's up with that? So I said, yes, I'm on Twitter. are you on Twitter? He goes, yeah, I'm on Twitter. I go, what do you do on Twitter? He hands me his business card. His Twitter ID was on his business card. He says to me, well, I tweet out pictures of clothing when they come in new to the shop so people can see it. He said, David, maybe I'll share something with you later. And I was sitting in a hotel room in Europe, and I got a direct message from Dave. And I think about what Dave has from me, Nordstrom Dave. What does he have? He has my Twitter ID because we shared it. He knows what kind of shirt I like because he sold me one. He has my credit card number. He has my postal mailing address. He has everything he needs. He sends me a direct message, David, I think you'll like this shirt. And I say, cool, buy it. Oh, crap. I spent $150 in 2 seconds. How cool would it be if the retail clerks in your shops, in your stores, if everyone who has customer contact could figure out a way to connect with customers on social networks, if appropriate, and engage with them in the way they want to communicate. I don't want to hear from someone on the phone, but if they reach me through a direct message on Twitter at the right moment, absolutely aligned with the way I buy, happy to spend $150 on a shirt. It's about being agile. Content is one of the best forms of marketing online. Because on the web, you are what you publish. You are what you publish. So if you're publishing great information on the web, you're great. If you're publishing nothing on the web, and some people don't publish nothing, then on the web you are nothing. And excuse the language, if you're publishing crap, then on the web that's exactly what you are, you're crap. It's all about what you publish on the web, you are what you publish. My insurance agent, his name is Larry McGlynn, independent insurance agent, and he has a blog called the Massachusetts Family Insurance Blog. A couple of times a month, sometimes once a week, he writes a blog post. I love this blog post. He did a blog post called Super Bowl, Super Party, Super Liability, talking about the liability of having a party to celebrate the Super Bowl. If your guests drink too much and leave, that you have liability. He's an insurance agent. What he told me is that much of our new business comes from word of mouth, and this gives a way for customers to share information about me. Larry's blog is very successful for him. On the web, you are what you publish. Larry is publishing great content. Who the heck are these people? Who are these happy, multicultural people that so many events use to depict the people in the audience? I don't get this stock photo thing. We need to avoid these crazy-ass stock photos. I frequently speak at events in the financial industry. They have a favorite stock photo, and it's when they envision people who are in retirement, and it's happy seniors wearing white on vacation. I'm sure you've seen that photo, right? We've all seen that photo. Oh, and my personal all-time #1 favorite stock photo comes from the food and beverage industry, and it is women laughing alone with salad. Did you know that women laughing alone with salad is a thing? Oh my God, look at this, it's crazy. So, if you need to bring humanity into the way you market your events, please, 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 please use real photographs. I'm a huge fan of the Grateful Dead, and I thought, why are there so many millions of fans of the Grateful Dead? The way that they marketed was they allowed fans to record their concerts. This is a Rolling Stones ticket. Like every other band, it says no recording allowed. The Grateful Dead said, sure, why not? You can record our music, no problem at all. And then we traded the tapes among each other, and then that created, in the 1970s and 1980s, one of the first social networks before Mark Zuckerberg was even born. Grateful Dead fans who traded tapes. It created the most popular touring band in rock history. They sold over $1 billion worth of concert tickets because of free content. So what I suggest that you do is try to remove as many barriers as possible from delivering your content. The whole idea of instant communications is that you can be ready when the time is right, when the market is right. My favorite idea of all when it comes to real-time communications is what I call newsjacking. Newsjacking is the art of injecting your ideas into a breaking news story. What do? You monitor Google News, you figure out what people are interested in, and then you write a blog post or create a video, and in a real timely manner, within a couple of hours, you push it out into the marketplace. That's what Trent Silver does. He's a 22-year-old entrepreneur. He runs a business called Cash for Purses. Cash for Purses buys women's handbags and then sells them to other people at a profit, typically on eBay. So his big problem is how can he get more purses? High-end Prada, Louis Vuitton is what he's looking for. So what Trent does is he looks at the news and finds out what's going on. He learned that Lindsay Lohan was having money troubles. Remember when that was going down? So he did a blog post offering to buy Lindsay Lohan's used handbags from her. Nah, wow, that's interesting, right? So here's the result. Radar Online then wrote a story, Lindsay Lohan will buy your purses, Lindsay. Company offers big money for Lohan's leftovers, with a link to Trent's business, Cash for Purses. How about this one? The Huffington Post. Lindsay Lohan offered money for used handbags by fundraising company with a link to Trent's business. My favorite one is The Inquisitor. Lindsay Lohan's purses may be the key to her financial freedom. Again, with a link to Trent's business. Here are the results. This cost him $0. He got 8,000 online inquiries, and his conversion rate was 19%. He made $250,000 from one blog post that took him maybe an hour to do and then cost him $0. You can achieve a similar result. Why do I know this? I know this because Trent Silver was in a room just like this one. He listened to my ideas just like you're doing. He emailed me a couple of months later and said, "Oh my God, David, look what I did. This is amazing." Here's the thing you all need to take away from this. Every single one of you can achieve a similar success. Every single one of you can achieve a similar success. Sometimes people email me. They email me a month or 2 months after the presentation and say, "I did it. I did what you said and I achieved the same result. And guess what? I grew my business as a result. I have new customers as a result." Your challenge is to stop making excuses. Your challenge is to act fast and live loud. My name is David Meerman Scott, and this has been Real Time. Thank you very much.
What an energetic, content-rich, current speaker. There's no one better than David Meerman Scott. I saw him speak about a year and a half ago at a conference in San Francisco and said he was the best person I've ever seen speak. So I invited him to our client forum, and David keynoted and just knocked it out of the park. His energy and his engagement with the audience is unlike any I've ever seen.
David Meerman Scott is the man. He has helped us make this inbound conference what it is. We had 500 people, and then we had 1,000, 2,500, 4,000. This year we'll have 8,000. He's been a keynote every year, and he crushes it. David Meerman Scott is the man.
I just had the great pleasure of listening to David for the better part of an hour at our Be Connected conference here in Dallas, and he was stupendous. He spoke directly to our direct selling executives, to issues that are so relevant to our field and our large industry. So I hope to get the opportunity to work with David again in the future. Thanks, David, you were terrific.